and that I know you have there, Tornado. So, I mean, throughout the course of the match, you you had led the world to believe that Conor might be able to get the win over you, but in the end, he underestimated your experience. Well, overall, I mean, what was all that like? Feeling the effects of the Summer Brawl crowd and going into that atmosphere, knowing that you're the legendary father that watches over all of CRW pretty much. So going into that, you had a high profile match against this kid, this up and coming kid who was responsible for being signed on by, well, pretty much myself, Dark Maiden, and even you bringing him in. And he learned a very, I would say he had learned a very valuable lesson from stepping in the ring with you at Summer Brawl.
Every match you should take something away from it as far as knowledge and experience. And hopefully Conor would take note of what happened that caused him to lose and become a better contender on his next match.
That's right.
Never underestimate who you're going to be fighting. Always be prepared. It's good to have faith in your ability and to think that all matches are going to be victorious. Because if you go in thinking otherwise, then you will be defeated. But in the same respect, you can't go in being cocky, and that was his mistake. He come into the match being cocky, thinking he had it all sewed up.
Cheap shot with a nailed glove and so this kid had nails sticking out of his gloves when he came in to fight you. What did Tornado bring to the table in response to those nailed gloves?
I had my spiked biker boots, and I gave him a good old-fashioned boot stomping.
You take a look at all the highlights that went through. Summer Brawl was a big shocker. You had not only the death match between you and Conor Isacoff, and you prevailed in a really, really lengthy match. Maybe we get some of Tornado's thoughts on what else happened. Paul Phoenix defeating Johnny Gat clean in the middle of the ring. What was that like to see one of your close companions in Gat get defeated by Taken?
Well, I hated to see Johnny lose. Like you said, he's a good friend of mine. He's a brother. And he's family. I hate to see family get whooped. And if he ever needs me, I'll be there for him. But yeah, he's a good contender. He's a good fighter. He doesn't need anyone's help. And his opponents, they just outdid him that night.
Gat came.
1, 2, 3. Gat has to give him his respect. He got beat.
Exactly what Gat did. We saw Gat come back tonight on Throwdown and pick up a victory by pinning Johnny Cage, of all people, after hitting a Chaos Theory. So, I mean, it's safe to say Gat's back, and he's looking at that world. He's looking at that CRW Championship that Paul Phoenix now holds after taking out Josh Knight at Chronic Slash just a couple of nights ago. And now Johnny Gat's back and looking into the heavier picture of things. He could very well end up getting his big win back that he so desperately wants and feels that he needs. Johnny, no question, big CRW superstar. Doesn't really have much of anything left to prove. There's none of the Saints really do, but they continue to go in and night out too, because they still they do still feel like they have something to prove.
It's the love for the sport.
Exactly. Exactly my thoughts there, Tornado. Now I do want to take you to the smoke chamber main event. Now we had this was for Mayhem's CRW World Heavyweight Championship, as you probably were watching on after your death match, after getting cleaned up and everything. Finally took some time to relax and watch the match. I'm sure because your son Firestar was in it. Now, the build up to that match was something else. We had Chris Zero had retired from the in-ring competition, so the title went up for grabs. So we were going to have a new champion either way. We see Brandon Wolf get injured in the match, tearing a quad. But how tough was Brandon Wolf? How tough was Brandon Wolf to overcome that and still come in third place practically in that match? Tornado, ladies and gentlemen. But the big shocker in that match, had to have come when Devastator, of all people, returned. Now, Devastator, everybody knows is Firestar's older brother. And, well, Devastator, just really, really legendary fighter. This match was intense from the get-go. We had Dante, Virgil, Rock Rollins, Brandon Wolf, Devastator, and Firestar part in this match. Now, this match was really, really long, guys. We are going to be getting Tornado's response here in just a minute. Because obviously the landscape has changed once again since these events. So it's going to be nice to know exactly what all is going on around here. So we will be back, folks. And yeah. Now, Tornado, now that you're back, I want to run through with you this chamber match that we had at Summer Brawl. Firestar Hart, Brandon Wolf, Rock Rollins, Dante, Virgil, and a returning Devastator. You had to have been just as shocked as just about anyone else to see Devastator back in a CRW ring after all this time.
Yeah, I was. I didn't think his old lady would let him come back out and play. It was good to see him come back, though. Part of my legacy lives on.
Indeed. See, Firestar carried that out really, really well with all of his accolades that he's carried out. And at Summer Brawl, we saw Brandon Wolf get hurt, tearing a quad. Still managing to come in third place, though. You gotta admire the guts on Brandon Wolf to make it that far into a match on an injury at that note.
Oh yeah.
He definitely proved that he belongs at the main event.
Shows the kid has heart. If you got heart, you'll go a long way in this business.
He's noticed. He's been known as the guy that has given Firestar his best match hit on YouTube. it's Firestar's most viral video right now, actually, him versus Brandon Wolf. So we knew what kind of heart Brandon Wolf had going into signing him just a couple of years ago. Now, I want to get your reaction on the end of this long, grueling match. We saw Firestar and Devastator throw dueling super kicks at each other, and this match lasted roughly around 2 hours. One, how do you think your boys could, in between not only there being 6 people, but coming down to them, how do you think that your boys could have gone that long and to throw super kicks left and right at each other for such a big dramatic ending?
I'm sorry, what was the question again?
Well,
I think Connor messed up my brain.
your boys, Firestar and Devastator. Overall, this chamber match lasted roughly around 2 hours. How do you think your boys could have gone that long, and then to have such a dramatic ending where they just tossed super kicks left and right at each other until Firestar finally just got one off of a rebound, fell on the Devastator, and pinned him to win the title at Summer Brawl? How do you think your boys could go that long to bring such a dramatic feel to a main event?
I'm sorry, I must be on dope.
There you have it, folks. Tornado on the recent landscape changes. On the recent landscape changes of CRW, folks. We'll be back with you guys later.
Awesome, dude.
There you go. Tornado looking to get back into the ring soon. Obviously recovering from the blows that he suffered at Summer Brawl. But we finally got it up for you guys. So we'll see you guys later. I know it's probably a little cringeworthy for an interview, but hey, it's a big party. So we'll be right back with you guys at a later time. Peace out.